Excuse me. Well, we're back. So we're 40 k's from Coffs Harbour. We've just come south of Grafton. Now that Grafton has a bypass, so I didn't even see it. And yeah, just dropped out. So I think this is like the third or fourth edition of the continuation of the trip to Sydney. Weather's better here. So you're not far from Coffs Harbour. So the posts that we're driving through were wildlife bridges. That had nets that went across them so that wildlife could climb, like koalas and possums could climb from one side of the highway to the other. But there's no more bridges up there anymore. There's no more netting. The comms coming through from here is shocking. Halfway Creek. I don't know if I've seen it yet. I'll let you know when I see it. I won't miss it now that you've mentioned it. Cassons Creek. I'm at Cassons Creek. I do remember. I know that there's a Midway Creek because I've driven this road so many times, and I always wondered if that was midway between Brisbane and Sydney. Yeah, rain's good. Well, there's no rain here. There's actually blue sky just up above us, just up ahead of us. The sun's the sun's shining on the bridge up in front of us. So, Maxie, the weather is looking better and better as we leave southeast Queensland. Big servo at Halfway Creek. Yeah, mate. Well, I mean, so Waze has us 578 kilometres to Sheps Mound. I should check to see if that's going through Sydney. Sydney. Yes, that's going over the Harbour Bridge. I mean, it's actually going through the tunnel, but I will go across the bridge. So it's got us getting to Sheps Mound at about, as Waze tells me, there's police ahead. Which I don't need to worry about. All these cars are slowing down in front of me because maybe they're using something to tell them that there's... I can't see anything, team. I did not see a speed camera or police or anything. So... and 576 kilometres, so not quite halfway yet. Nambucca, yeah. Nambucca. Oh, I always thought exactly halfway was Maxville. Halfway between Sydney and Brisbane. If, like back in the day, I remember breaking down there once. And I remembered that it was like 480 kilometres from Brisbane to Maxville and 480 kilometres from Maxville to Sydney. Obviously, it depends where in Brisbane and where in Sydney as well. But as you know, today we're literally talking Brisbane Airport to Sydney Airport. To be even more specific, the loop to Sheps Mound. I'll be taking the Cahill Expressway, my friend. Absolutely. I've actually spent most of my adult life in Sydney, and I lived in Randwick. My girlfriend at the time lived in Paddington. I've lived in St Leonard's up on the north side, so I lived at St Leonard's and I worked at Randwick, so I drove the bridge and the Kale Expressway heaps, and also the tunnel. Just depended how I felt at the time. If I wanted to take the bridge, well, it also depended on traffic. But I'll be in the left-hand lanes on the Harbour Bridge, mate. I'll make sure I get in the left-hand lanes before I cross the bridge. I'll be in the left-hand lanes by Falcon Street. How's that? At North Sydney. Oh, there's some houses up on the hills up around here. Geez, it must be nice to live up there. I'm assuming they've got a really nice view out to the ocean. Not that we can see it here. YouTube's still hanging in there. Well, it should get better around coughs, you'd think. You're in Brawning Crow's Nest, mate. We got a crow's nest up here in southeast Queensland as well. Very different. The crow's nest in North Sydney is very different to the crow's nest in out near Toowoomba. Oh, isn't that cute? They got the little... Is that a little soft top Fiat 500 that they turn around? That's cute. That's very cute. Little retractable sunroof thing. Your crow's nest is alright in North Sydney. I mean, you know, all that whole area was alright. I didn't mind it. North Sydney, Kirribilli, hung out at Mossman and Manly a little bit back when I was in the military. I was on a course. I did my army dive course over at Middlehead, so I've definitely dived a lot in Sydney Harbour. You can't see much there. Visibility is pretty low. That is a really nice tow truck, mate. I just jumped on the UHF after we passed the tow truck. I don't know if he's listening on his UHF. Yeah, Willoughby. Chatswood, is it? Chatswood's where Westfield is. That's a big Westfield. Neutral Bay. I had a friend for a little while that lived in Neutral Bay. That was a nice place to visit. I mean, plenty of restaurants and cafes around there. No need to ever move to Melbourne. Yeah, Willoughby. Always remember Willoughby because it's near the TV towers there. Well, I mean, I think that's pretty sure that's where they are. So, what did I go to? Oh, I went to a recording of the Footy Show once at Channel 9, up that way, underneath the big TV tower. Yeah, it is a rabbit warren, that way. Well, I mean, aren't they all? Anywhere there's a Westfield, it's just they are literally built like around rabbit warrens, for rabbit warrens, and are rabbit warrens. What else? So Emerald Beach is just off to my left. And there's a broken down car on the other side of the road. The AU Falcon. Oh, it's a shame to see the AU Falcon broken down. I think we need, that's something else, hey? Like, I mean, that car might have just broken down this morning or later last night, but, like, areas definitely need to have, like, tow trucks, like, ready to go just to pick up vehicles, get them off the highways. I mean, there's been people killed. You know, cars have hit stationary cars, trucks, all that sort of stuff. Because they've been broken down on the side of the road and then left there. I mean, the poor AU Falcon, I mean, they're becoming an icon. It's incredible to think that one of Australia's most ugliest cars ever built is so popular. Do you think living underneath the TCN 9 transmitter helped turn you into an IT guru? You know, there's a throwback line to the people living under the high voltage power lines getting cancers. Not the smoothest of video. But we are getting super close to Coffs Harbour now. That one, yep. Alright, so not far from clocking up 400 kilometres this morning so far. We've only dropped out like 3 times. Still 550 to go, so not quite halfway yet. We'll get to the south side of Coffs Harbour and heading towards Kempsey. But I'll see how close to halfway creek, how close to halfway we are when we get to halfway creek. How's that? How's that for good English? Mooney Beach. And it's so it's 10:30. I probably should put a clock up, hey. I thought about, well, I've had a clock. I had a clock when I first started the channel about a month ago. I had a clock. It was just like an analog clock that sat up there. I didn't think it was necessary. I thought, yeah, I'll get rid of that. We don't need it. You know what? Now I think the channel needs. I think the screen needs a clock up there, especially if the if the video freezes, that's a very good way to tell. Or if it's live streaming and there's a clock there and you can look at your own watch or what have you, look at your phone, and you can check to see how live it is. Alright, there's probably a few reasons I'll put a clock up there. So we'll give that a go. I won't put an analog clock up there. They're always a bit hard to read, so I'll find a spot to put a clock. I also... not sure if you look at the live chat. Maxi, are you looking on a TV or on a computer screen with the live chat? Is your live chat up the right-hand side? Because I'm trying to remember who it is as I take evasive action. Again, the adaptive cruise control slows me down. And then speeds me back up again. Yeah, Max, what are you watching this stream on? I know you've got some cool setup there. Hopefully I'll get to see it one day. But I know for those that are watching this on a TV, the live chat scrolls down the right-hand side, which is why I've avoided putting any of the overlay on the right-hand side. I think Mel, GR Yaris Mel, mentioned it to me. Said that he quite often watches it on his TV, and that when the live streams put things up on the right-hand side, it gets covered by the live chat. Yeah, exactly right. So I've avoided putting any of the overlay on the right-hand side so that it doesn't get covered by the live chat for anybody watching on the TV. Obviously, for those watching on their phones and tablets and what have you, that's not an issue. Now we're coming into a really nice area of Coffs. There's a house up on the hill. I can just see it through the trees. So a whole bunch of my friends and I went to Perth over 10 years ago and hired this house. It was down at Yallingup near Margaret River, and the house was incredible. It was like living in the Big Brother house. There was 3 guys and 8 girls, and it was very fun. We had an amazing time, and there's a house right up on the top of the hill. The camera probably won't pick it up. But after we did that one, we started planning. Our next was like, okay, we're going to do this again next year. Let's book a year ahead and secure something. And we actually secured this mansion up on the hill here. There's some big houses up on the hill here, but there it is. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a mansion halfway up the hill. It's got like arches. There's actually a helicopter pad and everything up there. We booked it and put deposits on it. But then as the time went on, someone dropped out and somebody else dropped out and somebody else dropped out. And then, well, it just wasn't going to be the same when you had only half the people going. So we decided to cancel that and we never did it again. And that was a shame. Because I look up at that house now every time I pass Coffs Harbour, up there. It's massive, and it's you can rent it out, like you can let it out, like at least used to be able to. Might look it up and see if it's still available because, well, who's to say we don't do it in the future? That would be cool. Right, so plenty of roadworks through the north of Coffs Harbour here. I mean, they are building a bypass, so what do you expect? You're gonna bypass the Big Banana. Well, that's going to be a shame, isn't it? I guess that's what happened to the big cow and the big pineapple up in Queensland. That's what's happened to the big prawn. The big merino. You can barely... I don't even think you can see the big merino at Goulburn from the highway now. You have to take the exit and go up into the service station. But you should do that anyway, because there's a great pie shop there at Grafton. Grafton? Goulburn. I always get those two towns mixed up. Goulburn is what I meant. Yeah, the pie shop there where the big merino is. Oh, here we are. The Big Banana. The Big Banana. Zoom in quickly. There's the Big Banana. Icon, tourist attraction. Oh, look at all the guys up there in their yellow, in their orange high-vis getting photos. Oh, no. They're monks. Oh, that's a bunch of monks. I think they're legit too. That's cool. Good on them. I don't think it's a footy trip gone wrong or anything. All right. Let's make sure that our stop-start technology in the Hilux, we will get stuck at a set of traffic lights for sure. We'll see if the stop-start technology interferes with the router and the modem. Oh, what is it? The inverter that I'm using, which has been chugging along back there quite nicely. Might just give myself some more space here. I broke down here once. I was towing my race car, so I'd only just recently moved back to Brisbane, but I still was involved with the WRX Club of New South Wales, and we had a race on at Goulburn, at Wakefield Park. That's right. Here we go. We're going to use the stop-start technology now. Let's hope when it restarts it doesn't shut the inverter down. Otherwise, if this goes blank, you'll know why. Anyway, I had an EB Falcon. I'd bought it off my grandparents, and the car is... Now, stop-start is unavailable because it's doing a DPF regeneration. Of course it is. Thank you, Toyota. DPF regen in progress. Therefore, stop-start technology is not working. Of course. Anyway, no biggie. So I had bought this Falcon that my grandparents had towed caravans around, towed a caravan around Australia with. So it was on gas, and I thought, I'll buy it off them. They got a new car, so I bought the Falcon off them. And I was towing my race car, and I got just past Coffs Harbour, and it blew a head gasket. The Falcon blew a head gasket. So I limped it to a friend's place. It wasn't a friend's place, it was a friend's uncle and auntie's place. I limped it there, and because my race car, my WRX race car, was actually still street registered, I pulled it off the trailer, repacked my bags into the Rexy, and then by this time it was night time, and I drove it, and I got as far as Maxville. Well, I didn't quite get to Maxville when it broke down. Apparently, some magician at Mercury Motorsport, who now works just down the street from where I hang out, he tuned my car, but he didn't do it right, and there was a checkbox in the software. All he had to do was check it, and then the alternator would have charged the battery, but he didn't check it, and he told me my alternator was faulty. And so we changed the alternator, and then he tuned the car. We also recharged the battery, and then he tuned the car, but we didn't fix the problem. And the problem was, in the software, you just needed to check a tick box. Anyway, so next to me here is the showgrounds. The next day, I got a lift back. The next day, I come here and I bought another Falcon for like $3,000 from the showgrounds, because that's what they do here. If you've got a car, hello police car. Oh, that's good. We need to talk about what that police car's doing. Like, he's waiting to turn across traffic, but he's out in the intersection. That's definitely something we need to talk on the channel. Anyway, I ended up buying this EL Falcon. It was a Ford Falcon Futura. I call that one Foxy. Foxy the Ford Falcon Futura. Anyway, I had two cars to rescue, so I drove back to the uncle and auntie's place, picked up the car trailer off the broken EB Falcon, made my way to Maxville, filled the Falcon up, loaded the Rexy onto the trailer, and then started making my way back to Brisbane. And by the time I got to Coolangatta, it was quite late at night, and I ran out of fuel because the fuel gauge in the new car I'd only purchased earlier that day didn't quite work properly, and I ran out of fuel. Fair enough, the fuel gauge doesn't work very well in that car. I should remember that for the future. The next week, loaded the car trailer back on the Futura, drove back down here, picked the broken Falcon up. I filled up here in Coffs Harbour, not in Maxville, but in Coffs Harbour. So I had so I knew I was knew at least I could get to Coolangatta before I ran out of fuel. And I had my partner with me that this particular time. Anyway, we start driving, and I kid you not, we ran out of fuel at exactly the same place. Even though I had some kilometres up my sleeve, the distance between here and Maxville. The problem is the WRX weighed 1,000 kilos and the Falcon weighed 1.7 tonne. So I was like, that extra weight chewed up more fuel, and I literally ran out of fuel at the exact same spot. But what I didn't say, the first time I ran out of fuel is I siphoned fuel out of the race car to put into my road car. Well, I had to do that again at the exact same place, which was near Tugun, because all I had to do was roll down the hill, take the exit, turn right, and there's a BP right there. And funnily enough, I turn up a week later to fill up again after I'd run out of fuel, and the lady behind the counter at the service station was the same lady, and she looked at me and she goes, "I remember you. Did you run out of fuel again?" Oh my God, so funny. Jimny, such a funny set of circumstances. Let's just say I never made it to my race weekend that weekend. And it took a bit of rescue, and yeah, I was gutted when I learned a little bit more about the Haltech computer that was running my race car, and that the guy that tuned my car was supposed to be a Haltech expert, and he destroyed me that weekend. And now he's tuning diesel cars because he blew up so many petrol cars. He decided to get into tuning diesel. And we have a truck broken down in the left-hand lane, northbound, and I don't know that the tilt tray is going to be able to do anything. And there's another tilt tray down here. Maybe the big blue tow truck that I passed earlier is on their way here to tow that B-double up and out of the way. That's all happening here in Coffs Harbour at 11 o'clock. Well, almost 11 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, there's one of my stories around this area. Running out of fuel on the way home twice at exactly the same spot. Yep. We're not going to run out of fuel today, people. We've still got 170 Ks left in the tank. Plus an extra... Well, I was going to say there's a little electric motor on this car, but can't use it. Otherwise, we could probably get another couple of kilometres. Oh, yep, that's cool. Just had to check and make sure that the Actually, I will zoom in for a bit. Just to get a perspective of being zoomed in. And Maxi, I know you're hanging out, so maybe let me know, zoomed in or zoomed out, what's actually better? Or, I mean, I can almost see what the person in front of me had for breakfast. Yep, I'm right in Coffs. Well, passing, like we're on the southern side of Coffs now. Bunnings, it's very commercial around here. Oh, what's here? I've been to something around here. BCF. I think I've definitely been to that KFC. Geez, hasn't GYG taken off? There's one to my left. Oh, the stop-start technology. It just stopped. So I take it the DPF has finished regen. And I take my foot off the brake. It starts back up. The inverter's still working. We're still going. I'll drive with zoomed in. That's as far as that zoom on this camera has. So Jimny. Oh, come back a bit. Cool. Oh, I'll just leave it there. I just don't want to miss anything. But then also want a good view, so. Yeah, there's a fair bit of action going on around here with the regards to roadworks and what have you. Oh yeah, I'd say, is that where the bypass is coming from? Oh yeah, there's plenty of roadworks getting done over there. So the bypass is coming in from our right, and we'll join in up here as we get a little bit more rain. Follow the 200 series, the V8, the big V8 Land Cruiser. Oh wow, okay, so they're not even using the road to our right. They've already bypassed that. Okay, so there's some stuff getting done. It was better zoomed in a bit. So which way is that way? That way? All right, let's go there. Let's go there, Maxi. We'll keep it there. Yeah, so, well, that's only the northbound lanes there that they've just changed. Just, it's like a diversion at the moment. A friend of mine, Jamo. I wonder if he still lives around these parts. Was it Corindi? Some impatient people. Yep. I mean, it's only just gone 100 again, so... We're not in a rush today. We're good. All right, so Sydney, 5:25. Maxville, 50 k's away. That'll be pretty close to halfway. Yeah, his car in front of me is doing 80 and 100 zone, so... Him and his cowboy hat. Yeehaw! Right, we'll leave the camera there. Back into the crappy weather, Max. Into 110 zone as the Prado. Blacked out Prado. Faster on the wipers, I guess. Faster on the wipers, I guess. So yeah, so that's something else, right? So learner driver. Well, I won't focus on the New South Wales learner drivers, but Queensland learner drivers have to do 100 hours, and that has to be logbook. I have to do 100 hours, and that has to be logbook. I've taken some